What's up, ladies and gents? This is Mike Headley, host of the Headley Group Real Estate Show. The podcast was designed to show business professionals who happens to have a license to sell real estate how you can make money outside of just selling a piece of property. We are talking to entrepreneurs that's making things happen. Continue to tune in. Hey, ladies and gents, this is Mike Headley. We are back. Another great episode on the Headley Group Real Estate Show. We got a brother right here who's changing the narrative in his market. Again, full transparency, you know, my team saw what he was doing on social media, and we said this brother could be a great fit for the show and for the audience because we speak the same language. This brother's been in the business for 8 years, and clearly at the resume, $28 million sold and helped 94 families in 2021. Want to give a warm welcome, Mr. Jerell Fields with Noire Real Group in Charlotte. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Oh man, it's a great thing, brother. Like I said, thank you for taking time out for being on the show.
No, thank you for having me.
And I see you doing some wonderful things, like I said, in that market as it continues to grow and expand. So, Jerell, let me, the people always want to know, they hear about the business, as far as selling a piece of property, buying a piece of property, but a lot of times people want to know who's the legend behind everything, right? The man, the myth. Okay. So Jerell, you got into the real estate field. What was that itch? What was that scratch to say, you know something? I want to go down this lane here.
Yeah, I'll tell you, man. 2013, I bought my first house. Me and my wife bought our first house, and didn't really have a good experience with the agent. And to be honest with you, man, I hear that a lot. You know, a lot of people I talk to that get into the business, they're like, oh man, I hated my agent, so I figured I could do it, they could do it. Gotcha. But I didn't immediately do that, right? I had a bad experience, and just kind of ran with it, but I understood the process of buying a house. In 2015, I was approached by someone at my previous job, and they were like, you're too good to be here, man. Why are you still doing this? I'm like, what do you mean by that? What else you got in mind? They're like, you should try like real estate. You're really good with people, relationships, talking. You're not afraid to have the conversations and stuff. So I was like, well, I'm not really good with commission-only jobs, but we'll see. We'll see. And, she actually paid for me to do the class. She was like, $424. She was like, wow. $424. Here you go. I'll sign you up for the class. And signed up for the class, and literally the second day of class, I just fell in love with the information.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was the first class was more like the introduction to it, and it's like, oh, this is what we're going to talk about. I was like, why am I here? And then,
okay.
And like I said, the second day of class, our first discussion was about agency. So when we got into the agency part of it and relationships and the contracts of the agency and what we're required to do, I was like, man, my agent didn't do none of this. I was like, I could really do this. So just fell in love with it, man. The information that came after that was amazing. And really life-changing, man. So got in 2015, and here I am,
Nice.
Yeah.
You mentioned, and again, we're gonna peel that onion back a little bit. The person that paid for the class, were they already into the business? And they just have to see
she was a broker in charge for Coldwell Banker. Gotcha. At the time. So just to give you a little bit of backstory, I was a golf pro. So I ran. Yeah,
we want all the story, brother.
I was a golf pro, man. I played college golf and tried to play it professionally for a little bit, and then ended up teaching golf at a local country club out here in Charlotte. And one of the members at the country club was a broker in charge at Coldwell Banker, and she was the one that kind of just pulled me to the side and was like, "Man, you are way too good at life to be stuck here." And so she really just took an interest in what I was and how I carried myself, and really just, looking back at it, $424 probably wasn't a lot for her, but so she was like, "Here you go." But yeah, it was just that little bit of faith that she had in me. It was cool. That's what got everything started.
It's interesting. A lot of times, you can see the talent in people, their strengths versus they can't see.
Yep.
So like I said, she saw something in you. You said the communication. She said you was a great communicator. You was great with people.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, you and I know, just like in this industry, that's one of the top assets you can have when you're interacting with people, right?
Yep.
As you see, as far as your team and they're interacting with, with different clients, do you kind of stress that component, or when you're bringing them on board, do you kind of look for that?
So, yeah, I mean, one of the things that I wanted to focus on, we started out as a team. So in May of 2019, when I launched my team,
nice.
I wanted people to be an extension of me. I had
nice.
a big book of business, but I couldn't maintain everybody and give them 100%. So I knew in order for me to grow, I had to create agents or allow for agents to be an extension of me and provide the same service.
Nice.
So really what I taught the agents was just how to control a conversation, control a room, navigate through a consultation, things like that.
Nice.
That's really what I focused on. So you put it that way. Yeah, I did make sure that the communication levels were high for the agents that were on the team. The commitment to learning the process had to be high. We haven't had much turnover. I mean, we started out with 5 agents, and when we started the team in 2019, we started with 5 agents. By the end of 2020, we had 4.
Nice.
And then 2020, at the end of 2020, we added 4 more. So then started 2021 with 8 agents. And those same 8 agents were around when we launched the firm back in April.
Nice.
Now we're sitting at 15 total. So
okay. So let me ask you something here. Let's talk about that part of the business side. You said you had 5, and you came back to 4. I think a lot of times, you see, particularly on social media, people always highlight the highs, and they minimize the issues, right? The part where the broker, the agent may say, nah, this ain't for me, I decided to leave. Or maybe, and not saying this was your case, or maybe a certain system was in place that the competitors was offering, right? And again, for full transparency, like when I started my brokerage, we lost probably about four, and even though they never produced anything. Right. But the fact, because they was team, I call it company jumping, right? Just trying to see, okay, if the grass is green on the other side. Yeah, and it happens. So with that, the only thing it did was just to always, it allowed me to fine tune and say, okay, well, what we could have done just a little bit better for the next one. So my point in saying that is, as you have the 15, and again, you'll continue to get more, are you steady fine tuning? It's like a business, always looking at the books and what can I do better? Talk about
always.
that.
I think that's important, right? I just had a interview yesterday with a young lady who was interested. She asked me what my 5-year plan was for the brokerage. And I told her, I said, you know what's funny? And I said, I've just had this conversation about 2 months ago with somebody else. I've actually scrapped my 5-year plan for my business. And I said, she asked me why, and I said, well, because 5 years ago I didn't predict this. I didn't predict being where I am right now 5 years ago. And if I would have stuck to that 5-year plan just because of my 5-year plan, I might have been somewhere else or might have been stagnant. I said, so, with that being said, you're going to have things that come up that you have to either adjust, you have to learn from. And I think that's important for any leader, any business owner to take into consideration what's happening. I think criticism is huge. I have an open book, open door policy with every agent at my firm. I'm like, hey, look, if you see something that you think might work, bring it to me. I'm open to criticism. Or if you see something that I offer that is not working, tell me why, and let's see if there's something we can scrap. There's always going to be something out there that's going to help. Now, it's not going to help every single agent, but I need to be in a position where I'm making sure that I'm providing the right tools for you. So every day is literally an adjustment, a learning curve. But I tell every agent coming on, understand we are a small business and a startup. I'm not going to have the bells and whistles right now. I've got what's gotten us here, and I'm making adjustments to get us to another level. But I need you to understand that before you join. And as long as you understand that, we're going to work together and we're going to get to the next level together. But I think that's important for any kind of business leader to have that mindset going into a new business or a new launch of their business.
Hey guys, thank you for watching our show. We're going to interrupt you real quickly. We are in the business of referrals. If you know someone looking to buy or sell, residential or commercial, here in the North Carolina area, refer us. We really appreciate that.
Awesome. Well, I like that, brother. You just kudos to you. You said so many good things in that, and just in that section. The fact that you said you have to be able to take criticism. I could say constructive criticism, right?
Yeah.
And to be open for feedback, because I think a true leader is the one who's willing to listen and take suggestions, right? It can't be, hey, I know it all, you know nothing. You will fall, your business will collapse. After a while, if you have that kind of attitude, right?
I agree. Yeah.
So let's peel back a little bit. And again, I didn't want to go too far ahead, but when you said, that, I had to just kind of dive and see, how, as far as me bring a broker on with, your approach to that. Okay, so been in the business. You said, okay, that was that itch, getting into the game. You start out with another brokerage. And one thing about our show, brother, we be transparent and we keep it real and honest.
Please.
The former brokerage you was at, was it, two questions here. Was it a representation of us? And was it, were we cherry picked, so to speak, or was we getting the attention? And let me tell you the reason why I'm saying this, because again, I started at a large brokerage, right? We had the number one team, right? Yep. For the last 4 years I was in, it's made sense to cut the umbilical cord and move on, right? But some of my, two of my buyer's agents, who happens to be sisters, African American, and they would just get ignored. And that bothered me, right? But with me, if I said something, you hop and skip and give Mike anything he wants. But my team members, they wouldn't even acknowledge them, right? So my point in saying that, did you see any of that at the former brokerage that made you say, I got to get my own thing going?
I will tell you that I didn't see the neglect.
Okay.
Because at the former brokerage I was at before, so I was at two different brokerages. So the first brokerage I left to start the team at a different brokerage. The reason I left that firm was similar to what we're talking about, but again, without the neglect, right? I was a top producer at this firm. I think that was my first year full-time, 2017, first year full-time. Couple years prior to that, I was part-time trying to do other things. 2017 was my first year full-time, and about $6 million at the end of that year.
Nice.
I made the turn 2017 into 2018, and I wanted more. I kept looking up, and I was the top agent. I was the top, in the top 5 all the time. But I was the only Black person in the top 5, or in the top anything. So a lot of the progression of where I wanted to go was, all right, well, how do I get luxury? How do I get to a different price point or get a different audience outside of my sphere to generate more business? Because I just did $6 million last year off of my sphere. They're not buying houses no more. They already bought their house. So now how do I get more business? So the thing that bothered me the most was, at that time in 2017, you got to remember, I don't know how it was in your area, but in Charlotte, North Carolina, it was very white. Okay, very white.
Actually, it's worse, brother. I mean to interject on that because the African American population is much lower than Charlotte. But go ahead.
Yeah. So you're talking old white women, right? That was what it was. So a lot of the methods that I was using to gain business was not something that was traditional, right? It was the start, I will say the start of the Instagram era of real estate or of small business, when people started posting pictures and doing this, closing days and things like that. When people started doing that and making big deals out of it, that's where I was trying to go with it, right? It was, I want to do a photo shoot. I want to do a closing day video. And my broker in charge just didn't understand that. She didn't understand where we were in the times. And then I started asking those questions, right? How do I get into this luxury market? How do I get into this? A lot of the answers that I got was, all you got to do is. And I kept saying, well, if it was that easy, I'd be doing it. But it's not all you got to do is, So because they were looking at it from a different aspect. They were looking at it from, that their white skin of not having to think of consequences, or can I put my face on this marketing? Can I put, my name on this marketing? If it's not a traditional name, is somebody gonna look at that and go, he don't know what he's doing? Or, again, the height of social media where people were starting to look up people, right? As I put my name on this and they look me up, are they gonna be happy with what they see? Are they gonna trust that I know, the luxury market? So those were the responses I was getting, and I wasn't satisfied with those responses. So for me, it was, you don't have the answers, I gotta go. And it's because of that disconnect between whether it be racial or just not understanding where we are with the times, shifting into the social media era of sales. So there were a couple of things that led to that change, and those are the two biggest things that led to the transition of going to a different brokerage.
And it's interesting that a good friend of mine's, she happened to be at a large brokerage in Georgia, and she was kind of a little hesitant about opening up her own shop, top broker. And she ended up finding out that the administration was trying to steal her business, right? Because she was the top dog, and the front office receptionist made her aware of it. So she opened up a business. Best things ever happened to her. She got about 65 agents, still killing it. She's doing extremely well. So my point in saying that is sometimes that the moments of discomfort, the moments of, wow, y'all doing this? Let me go do my own thing, right? So, and I think as God making it happen.
That's it, man. That's really what led to it, man. It's just starting to see that what's in my mind was a lot more valuable than what these firms were offering. Not saying that these firms didn't offer a lot. They offered a lot, but if it wasn't useful for my business,
correct,
or if I didn't find value in it, then why am I staying?
Exactly.
It's just one of those things, man. But yeah, I agree. I think it's to me, even right now, 4 or 5 months in. Yeah, 5 months in. I think this is probably one of the best moves I've made in my career.
Oh, definitely, brother. I would. I don't even know you like that, brother, but I can tell you that yes, you made the best decision, and you look back and say, man, I'm glad that happened.
Yep.
Let me ask you something here in terms of, you mentioned part-time to full-time. When I started out, I tried to hold on to a job for a couple of years, and I said, something, I'm going full steam ahead. All right, giving this up, I can always get a job.
Yep.
What was it with you to say, I got to give this 110% commitment? I got to go for it, to go full time?
So I have these things that I call God winks, right? Some people call them coincidences. I call them God winks, right? And it's, I got that from a friend of mine, actually in real estate school. When I was in real estate school, he started using that terminology, and I say, I'm gonna steal that.
Okay. I know, right?
But yeah, so 2015, when I got my license August 31st, 2015. Okay. September 23rd of that same year, I got fired from my job. So, all right, that's God wink number one, right? Got you this license, now go use it, right? September 23rd all the way until January 15th of 2016, I didn't have a job. Wife was taking care of the bills. I was trying to make real estate work. Didn't really know what to do with real estate. Because you're getting in, it's like, what do I do? So again, being at the wrong place, wrong brokerage, not being able to have that information available as to help me get started, ended up getting another job in the insurance business. Worked in insurance from January 15th all the way to the end of the year. And when I hated that job. I hated it. I was never a 9-to-5 kind of person. I hate sitting still. I'm not even at that job, I had the raising desk. I would stand up and work, things like that. So I just couldn't be still.
Okay.
But I had one night, man, July 3rd, 2017, which was in that transition of doing it full time. July 3rd, 2017, man, I went to a Burger King. And a lot of my friends, followers know this story because I do the anniversary of it every year on Facebook.
Okay.
July 3rd, 2017, the day after my mom's birthday, go to a Burger King for the wife and kids, and literally, bro, had $2.73 in my bank account. Car got declined at Burger King. And I said, I literally, luckily I had some gambling money left over from in my Venmo account, used that to pay for the food. And I immediately went into just a parking spot and just cried, man. And I got 2 kids at home. You know, I got a house to pay for. I'm like, I'm not being the man of the house right now. So I had this moment and just let it all out. I screamed, all kinds of stuff in the parking lot, man. It was like 9 o'clock at night. And I just literally got outside the car and said, all right, reset. You know, like just reset. And, talking to God, having, conversation.
That's it.
Hey, man, I got to do something. And I had this just thought, man, and just got back in the car and reset, went home, woke up the next day, called my dad and said, Dad, I gotta do something. I gotta quit. I gotta do something. I'm having, these thoughts. It's not healthy for me. My dad said, quit your job. Quit.
Quick commercial break. If you're interested in a career in real estate or you're a seasoned vet, you might want to change. New environment. You don't like the atmosphere you're in. The Headley Group Realty could be there to assist you with your career. What do we offer? Great culture, great environment, leads, and an awesome commission structure. Let us be there to support your business. One thing, you got to be in the state of North Carolina. Let's get back to the show.
I quit the job, and I said, well, I'm not going back to what I was doing September 2016 to January. I said, I'm going to make it work. I got to figure it out. And literally, when my dad told me to quit, I had this comfort came over me, man. It was like, you're doing the right thing, but we're going to do it right this time. And so July 4th or July 3rd, 2017 was when I had that thought. Came back to work on the 5th because the 4th was a holiday. And put my 2 weeks notice in.
Wow.
That was it, man. Just really I had a conversation. Just it was time to do something different.
Yeah. So many businesses and success stories started because of that discomfort, that pain, and it's like, I don't want to touch that again. Yeah. That's why I've always admired and really want that broker who probably, and I don't wish this on anybody, who failed the test 4 or 5 times but still kept going, right? Yeah. And because that when they get licensed, they're beasts, right? Because what that tells me is that that hunger is there. And we know being in this business, that's one of the keys you got to have. You got to always be hungry, so to speak, right? Yeah. Transition into, you out there selling, you making it happen. Mm-hmm. We all had 1, 2, I probably got 1,000 of them. A deal where you wanted to say, listen, buyer, listen, seller, boy, y'all driving me crazy because y'all not listening to me. I'm telling you what needs to be done. Either we reduce the price or we, you get repairs, whatever thing may be. What was that one deal that had you like, oh man, this is hell, but you end up closing it anyway?
Immediately I think back to you talking about the highest of highs, right? That first, so for us, again, I don't know your market, but for us, $1 million.
I'm in Greensboro.
So okay, so even with that, right?
Right,
so
yeah.
With us, that first $1 million deal, you go, I got $1 million deal. I got $1 million listing. I'm so excited. I'm happy. So the highest of highs.
Okay.
I get this $1 million listing, man. And we do everything. I mean, from the beginning, I give him the whole plan as to who we're going to sell to, who we can market to, who my network is, the people I know that have money. I'm like, these people are going to put me in places to do this. I get this listing on March 5th or 6th, something like that. It was like the week before. You'll know why I know, but March 6th or 7th of 2020. Okay. I get this $1 million listing.
Okay, I know where you're going. Gotcha. Okay.
And it doesn't go live until they don't want to go live until May 1st. Cool. Right? They're like, hey, March 6th, 7th. It's a beautiful house. It's in a gentrified neighborhood in Charlotte, and it's can it sell at that price point? Yes, and it was coming furnished. Right? They were furnishing the whole home. Perfect house. Very recognizable home. If you see it today, you're like, oh yeah, that's a nice house. The next week, the world shuts down.
That's it.
Very next week, the world shuts down. You mean to tell me you want me to sell $1 million house when people are no longer, or what we thought, nobody is spending any money? I said, so here's what we got to do. And I gave them this whole strategy. I said, look, we're still going to sell it. I'm going to push it to my NBA players that I know. I'll push it to the NFL guys that I know. We're going to get some eyes on it. We got a good bit of eyes on it. People came and saw it. but the people were just nervous to spend that money at that time, right? We went live in May. People didn't know they would need to have, they were like, I want to have all my cash. I don't want to spend it because the world is shut down. So it wasn't necessarily the sellers itself. It was more so the situation. But I ended up cutting that deal short and parting ways with the seller because I said, guys, if you're not going to allow me to give you the strategy and you use the strategy, or if you're not going to allow me the time to sell this in a proper market, this is not going to work. So I let that one go about 3.5 months into listing it. But it was just one of those things, man. It's like, sometimes you got to be able to say yes, sometimes you got to be able to say no, but you got to understand when that time is. But that deal itself took me back, man. Just thinking about it. That's probably that was the best moment and the worst moment at the same time.
Got you. So you had the gumption enough to fire a client, right?
I did.
And
you got to know.
You got to be aware of that, right? And I definitely try to, school the team or any other brokers may come out to me, ask me a question too. There's nothing wrong with firing the client, right? You don't have to dance to their every tune, right? So kudos to you on that. Brother, what specializations do your brokerage specialize in?
So we cover anything from a $50,000 home all the way up to $1.2 million is our max right now, is what we've sold so far, the highest.
Brother, you sound like me.
Yeah, man.
Take it all.
Yeah, we'll take it all, man. I think
correct.
We've got everybody for you. We help, I've got a couple of agents that'll help with renters.
Nice.
I've got a couple ladies that specialize with investors.
Nice.
So we cover everything from, again, that price point and up. But we're not afraid to, get dirty. New construction, first-time home buyers. I had a client that we were working with for almost 3 years. So first-time home buyer, preparation. Wow. So everybody's not going to buy right now. We understand that.
Correct.
That's huge. It's all about educating, man. As long as you can educate the people and let them know, what the market is right now. What it may be trending towards. We're not going to give you false information. We're not going to, have you operate off of fear.
Correct.
I know some agents that do that.
Yes.
But we're not going to operate off of fear, man. But we cover anything and everything, man.
And just to piggyback off what you were saying is that you dealt with the client for 3 years. Actually, I had one like that. I've always said, and I tell the team, you do lead generating, we do follow-up lead generating. They may not be ready right now, right? But give them about a couple of years, 6 months, 5 months, but you got to stay in touch with them. Because the last thing you want is to run into them in the supermarket. They said, oh, I thought you wasn't calling anymore. I used John Doe down the street. You're like, what?
Yep.
Because you didn't.
Yeah, social media makes it even worse, man.
That's right.
Because now you get to see them with their picture with the keys. And,
correct. I know, right?
He was working with each other. Nah, man.
Exactly. So Jerell, brother, yes, as we wind it down, and like I said, you see how quick this went by. You gave lighten us with so much great information. Is there a question that you want me that you would like to answer that I didn't ask?
No, man. I think I will say for people that are interested in getting into the business, get in it, find out if it's for you. I think, a lot of agents will tell you, will try to, again, fear, try to tell you, oh man, you're not ready for this. It's a lot of work, Yes, it is. But I think, I tell people all the time, man, we were being interviewed a while back by some other people. And one of the things they said was, is it hard? And I'm like, being a real estate agent, it's not hard. It's the commitment to being a good one. That's hard, right? You have to literally commit to being a good agent. And that takes, doing the legwork, the farming, the, building your craft, right? Understanding, reading about it, understanding what's happening in the market and how to, operate within that market. Don't tell me that it's a seller's market and you got 22 buyer leads. Tell me it's a seller's market and you got some listings. How did you get those listings? So it's just one of those things, man. If you want to get into business, get into business. I welcome you. But I do say, be ready when the time comes where you have that listing, where you have that buyer client, and be open to understanding that you're working with the agent on the other side, not against them. I think that's one of the things that these newer agents don't understand. They come in ready to argue, ready to negotiate whatever they think their skill set is, and they end up working against the other agents. And it's a very small world. So just know that agents remember those agents that didn't do so well in their last deal. So if you wanna be that agent, go right ahead.
You know, some brother, we gotta get a part 2 on you, man, because I can rattle a whole hour on that part there. How we're working together, even though you're more experienced and the other person's inexperienced. Hey, listen, let's work together. Common goal is bring these parties to closing together. It ain't you against me, right?
Yeah.
But so yeah, brother. So listen. Jerell, you really lighten the audience with some great insight. I mean, not just from a real estate standpoint, just business. The brother shared his story. He was vulnerable, and he shared his success as well. And he shared, hey, there's nothing wrong with finding a client, you real estate people out there. Jerell Fields with Noire Real Estate Group is in the Charlotte area, and his brother is making great things happen. And brother, we want to thank you for being on Headley Group Real Estate Show. And before we wrap it up, we usually ask for 2, but we're running low on time. Give the audience one golden nugget before we go. One golden nugget.
One golden nugget. Be comfortable being uncomfortable. That's the only way to be successful. You gotta be very comfortable being uncomfortable. Put yourself in some situations that will make you uncomfortable and test your what you think you know, and you'll find out what kind of person you are real quick.
Listen, brother, some fabulous stuff right there. Listen, we see you all next time, and thank you for being on the Headley Group Real Estate Show. And Jerell, we'll have all your social media handles.
Perfect, man. I appreciate you having me, man. Definitely.
I thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, gang, I hope you really enjoyed that show. Our guests provide us some great tips and insight, and please support them on all social media platforms. And while I'm saying that, support us on all social media platforms, and don't forget, watch the entire video on YouTube. We'll see you next time.